somebody is very deliberately making us sick. Now, why would somebody deliberately want to put stuff into your body that should not be there? It's like being in war. You don't want to get shot. And this is a war, just in case anybody didn't catch it. This is a war, and it is a war we cannot afford to lose. Do I know exactly who the people are? No, I don't know exactly. What I do know is that if you read the dots, they all read the depopulation. I'm disgusted by it. I spent 32 years of my life defending all of our rights, all of our freedoms, all of them. And here we are, and people are making choices for me where I do not have those same freedoms that I used to have.
The Georgia Guidestones, for those who don't know, are an enormous, almost 20-foot tall granite monument in this small little town, Elberton, Georgia. The first commandment on the stones is to maintain world population at 500 million, and other commandments speak of creating a world court advising humans not to be a cancer on the earth. And they are, in a sense, the globalist Illuminati's 10 commandments, and we know that population reduction has been a key issue and goal of the Illuminati for some time now. And only those in the know, only those enlightened and in on the secret are able to decipher the meanings of their monuments and of their symbols. And this is one more open Illuminati symbol that stands in a fantastic, beautiful field out where the public can go and view it. And here we have a monument calling for the population reduction of over 95% of the population. I find it fascinating, yet disturbing and disgusting.
This chills me. This was a press release August 05. On August 30th and 31st, more than 750,000 vaccinators will go house to house and work at vaccination booths across Indonesia to reach more than 24 million children under the age of 5 in one day. In one day. Now, don't you think it's more cost-effective to use about maybe 10,000 vaccinators and take 3 months? They gain experience. What's the hurry? This was a trial, in my interpretation. This is a trial run in order to vaccinate a lot of people, so if and when something goes wrong in the vaccine, nobody will refuse it. They've already taken it. So it takes a little time for these rumors to spread about abortions, ovulation problems, paralysis, so forth. So they have a trial run now to vaccinate a huge, huge number of people in one day. And I believe it's possible that this infrastructure that's being built in this country with the flu vaccine, this pandemic that's going to come, they're trying to build the infrastructure to do mass vaccinations in a very, very short period of time. Last section here, and this is mind-boggling. Now, the HCG vaccines were, 20 years ago or so. It's been a little while. What's new? You wouldn't believe it. Recombinant DNA techniques. And there's just so much research, and I'm not, this is like dusting off my basic science. I mean, I had a heck of a week. I was in the library and the first-year medical students and pushing them out of the rows to get to some of these books. Targeting vaccinia virus express secretory beta subunit. What they do is they know that if you take naked DNA and inject it into mammalian tissue, you can express. It'll function. DNA is how proteins in your body are created. So you have two options on an anti-fertility front. If you put HCG, the DNA sequence for HCG, into a virus, inject it, what that can do is create an HCG forever. And if it's foreign enough, then you'll get antibodies for it. Now, they've always had trouble getting HCG to be recognized by the body. So the other way they do it is put, instead of the sequence that makes HCG hormone, they make the sequence that makes the HCG antibody. It's passive immunization. So when the body reads the DNA and creates this along with whatever proteins in the cell, it will make the antibodies immediately, indefinitely. So it's basically, through DNA technique, it's a stealth way. I mean, you won't be able to figure this. A lab, it would be a sophisticated lab to discover this. And they've done this, for example, in this study, vaccinia, which is the smallpox. So you can put this in a smallpox vaccine. I don't know how you discover it. It's even done in plants. They've done this in tobacco plants. They've put this DNA sequences into plants, and it expresses anti-HCG antibodies. What's the U.S. policy? Do the U.S. have a policy on population control? And this is where our story gets really, really strange. Because this may be the most notorious document in the history of the United States. And I'll show you why. It's the National Security Study Memorandum 200, Kissinger report, who was the director of the NSC and Secretary of State, submitted this document to Nixon in '74. They identified target nations they were going to use. They wanted to list multinational organizations. Legalize abortion was key. Financial incentives, propaganda, and even coercion were going to be used. The methods of NSSM, they wanted it to be inexpensive and safe. They wanted it to be perceived as safe, for sure. Non-physician, which means they wanted to implement this to huge populations. There aren't enough doctors to do it, and vaccines are perfect for that. You don't have to be a physician in these countries to vaccinate. But this thing just jumped off the page. Injectable contraceptives for women which are effective for 3 months or more. Didn't exist back then. It sounds like a vaccine, potentially.
So I would like to give you what I believe is the real agenda. And so much of what Dr. Ayoub told you in the previous talk carries over into this one. There are people who have a different world view. NSSM 200. And what they say is we've got to restrict population throughout the rest of the world. First of all, in the developed countries, and then, of course, in the underdeveloped countries. And that's why we give all these, hundreds of millions of dollars every year to the United Nations the Family Planning Association, why we finance abortion in China, why we finance abortion throughout the rest of the world, why we put those contraceptive vaccines out. And I've talked to people from Kenya and from the Philippines, both where they've, without knowledge of women, they've given them contraceptive vaccines so they can't conceive and taken away the most important thing a woman can have, the ability to have children. But you see, these evil and wicked people have no human compassion. They just have a goal, and that is sustainable development.
Yes, biang bitoy ngayon na yes, biang bitoy na ati ko to na le homiani malua di ati telu ja na wisi ko ni ati tele nyenye ja na he de ngayo shibo hule bo hule ga lo ja no ko ma to ko mi alu na le to o ma to ba si ma to ko le la ba nyenye na to nya le ma nya le
to ni sho you got too many
manye kilo ngao mo bo ku ba ya sa pu ta jwa yong ya le yang ai yo lang ai ba na ne zo ko yo lang ai ngao lang a u le ko yong a na nga le ji da le nga he yo shi ho she ji le bo ko ka lo ji ta hu za tu a bo he za na yo lo jam si ma de lo a yo ga ka jo za ka me hu za yo hu me ja
Expanding humanity is squeezing wildlife populations into islands of habitat worldwide. Continued wildlife reproduction in these fixed-size areas means eventual habitat decimation. We are applying immunocontraception to limit population overgrowth in some wildlife species until humans can hopefully control their own numbers. This video shows how animals are marked, treated with contraceptive vaccine, and monitored from a helicopter.
Is this okay, man?